Hello, this is Miss Alexander, and this is for 8th grade at Mercer Middle School. We are working on page 7 of your practice interim, which you have next week. So the standard we're going to work on today is 8EE6. You can check that out on Khan Academy if you want more practice problems. Understand the connections between proportional relationships and linear equations. The first 2 minutes or so are just going to be a quick walkthrough of these two problems, and then you can end there or you can keep watching for some more in-depth examples and work. So it says line T, here's line T here, has a slope of 2/3 or 2 over 3 and passes through 0, 0. That's a point. Follow these steps. Step 1, start at 0, 0. So it wants us to start here. Move right 6 units. So be really careful. It doesn't want you to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 using these little lines. It wants you to follow the scale they have marked. So move 6 units to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now here I am at the 6, and now I need to, from the location defined by completing step 2, how many units up is line T. So if I want to get from here straight vertically up to line T, I'm going to look at my scale over here. I've got to move up 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's a point right here. So I started at the point 0, 0, and I found that if I moved to the right 6 units, I'd have to move up 4 units to get to this new point. So the answer is, how many units up is line T? 4 units up. That's it. All right, question part B. Consider the line shown on the graph. Enter the equation of a line in the form y equals mx, where m is the slope. So I have to find y equals mx. Now, really, mx plus b is a linear equation, but this is proportional, so they're not including the plus b because 0, 0 is the origin, is the y-intercept. So we already know b is 0. So b is 0. Now I need to know what m is. M is going to be the slope. So it tells me from any one point, how do I get to the other point? What is the change or the rate of change between 2 points on my graph? So I'm going to go along here, and I'm finding that none of these points to me seem very easy to figure out exactly what they are. This one seems to me a little obvious because it's at exactly 5, exactly 15. So I'm going to point out this coordinate point or ordered pair 5, 15. So if I want to find the slope, I'm going to start at 0, and I'm going to say what is the change in y is 15, and what is the change in x is 5. So my slope is change in y over change in x. Now I could leave it like that, or I'm going to simplify it just to practice that. Divide by 5, divide by 5, 1/3. So it's positive because if read a graph from left to right, just like you read a book, from left to right I'd be going up, or as x increases, y also increases. So y equals 1 over 3x plus 0, or you don't even need to write that. You could just say y equals 1/3 x. All right, you can either stop there or you can work with me on a little more deeper understanding here. On question 7a, let's change colors here. A couple of things you need to notice. This graph, the scale, we really have to make sure we always check that scale. This might have counted by 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4. They also could have marked this 5, and that would have mean this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's something really to look carefully for. In this case, they were counting by 1s, but they were skipping to these, every 5th line was being marked as 1, 2, 3, 4. Also, another way you could have solved this is it told me the slope was 2 over 3, or the change in y was 2 for a change in x of 3. So really I could think of, if I move right 6, well that's going to be a change in x of 6. So if I want these to be equivalent, from 3 to 6, that's times 2. So an equivalent rate, 2 times 2, is 4. So that would have solved it for me as well. I know that my change in y would have to be 4 if my change in x was 6. So it's another way of thinking about this. If we go down to this one, the standard here says proportional relationships and linear relationships. Both of these were proportional relationships. Neither of these were linear. So it is fair game to give a linear equation here, not a proportional relationship. So if they gave us a linear equation, that might have looked like this. A starting value at 5, for example, and a point over here at 10, 10. If they'd given us that and we had to write an equation, that would be a little bit different. So what that would look like is a line like this. Whoops. Well, that's good enough. The line should continue this way, but you get the idea. So if I wanted to write an equation for this, that would be y equals the slope multiplied by x plus some b value. So the b value here would be 0, 5, or the b value would end up being 5. So y equals some slope times x plus 5. My starting value of this graph is 5. My slope would be the change between any 2 points. Notice that I didn't draw this super well. I really should have done a better job. It should go through that point right here. So my slope would be up 5 over 5, 10. So change in y is 5, change in x is 10. Yes, I could simplify that to be 1/2. These are equivalent though, so you're good to go. If you really wanted to, you could change that to say 1/2 x plus 5. That's about it. Linear equations, proportional relationships is what they're asking for here. If you need help on this standard, if you need to practice some more, a couple of resources that we keep reminding you about. Lunch with Mr. BR, Miss Agapov, or Miss Allen. Pretty much every single day there is official lunch tutoring Wednesdays and Thursdays with Mr. BR, and there's a lot of support here at Mercer if you're needing help with something. If you're in math enrichment, you could be watching this video. You could be working on a standard in your folders that have to do with this topic. You can also go to Khan Academy. I've shown before, but I'll do it quickly. I'm going to open up Firefox, and I'm going to go to Khan Academy. I'm going to type in the standard we were just working on, which is 8EE6. 8.ee.6, and down here I'm going to click on what popped up, and this says 8EE1. I want to go down to 6, so I'm going to scroll down here till I find 8EE6, and it says skills for the standard are coming soon, so it's telling me it's not really going to help me very much, but graphing proportional relationships is related to that, so that could be a standard, and then graphing linear equations is also related to that. So it tells me what is the slope. Here's my table. Change in y is 3, change in x is 1, and then graph the line. So what is the slope? Change in y is 3 over change in x is 1, 3 over 1 is 3, and graph the line. That represents this relationship. Notice x is 0, y is 0 as a point, so I'm going to move that to 0, 0. And then it says the slope is 3, so I have to go up 3 over 1, so I'm going to take this point, put it on 3 over 1, or up 6 over 2, that's equivalent, it still goes through 1, 3. Let's press check. Correct. And as you go through these questions, of course, if you don't know how to do it, like for example this one has some decimals, if you're struggling, you can use a hint, get a hint, or you could, it's going to walk you through how to do that, or you could watch a video. Graphing proportional relationships, unit rate. Don't just focus on the questions, focus on the learning behind the questions. Okay, so they're going to walk you through it pretty carefully. So that's it. Study, prepare, use your resources.